Hey everybody, here it is, the start of another deer season. As you can see in this video, the bucks are really starting to heat up a little bit. So I'm going to go through on this video and show you some of the bucks that I'll be targeting this year through the hunting season. This deer here is Tractor Huey. It's a deer my daughter named way back in 2019 when I started hunting this property down in Franklinville. And he's a buck that doesn't have really good genetics. As you can see, the rack is not giant by any means, but he is old. I'd really be proud of shooting this deer just based on the history that I've got with it. I actually passed it at about 22 yards back in 2019. It was one of the first bucks I had a crack at when I started this lease. But he's got a tendency of disappearing come hunting season. Last year I didn't see him at all, and to be honest with you, I thought he was dead. So I was really surprised to see him on camera this year. Split Brownie is probably the nicest rack buck that I've got on my cameras. He's out in Medina. I had an encounter with him back in 2021 where I saw him walking down the same trail almost where he's standing right now, coming from the opposite direction. He's just a beast now, and I'd love to get a crack at him. Alonzo is another stud of a deer out in Medina, and he runs a lot with Split Brownie. A lot of times when I get him on camera, I get them together, even through the peak of the rut last year, which I thought was pretty unusual. These deer were running together, but he has a super tall rack. He's just a giant, and again, another deer I'd love to have a crack at. I've seen him for the last 2 seasons on camera. Never had an encounter with him in person. Bugger is a deer I got a lot of history with. He got the name Bugger because back in 2021 I got a trail camera picture where he had bugs all over him, and my kid saw it and she named it Bugger. But I had a couple encounters with Bugger. I had an encounter with him when he was 1.5 years. He's the only wide buck on the property, so it's easy to tell it was him. Yeah, I filmed him at 28 yards, let him walk right by me, The next year he got a little bit bigger, but he really blew up last year, became something really nice. But I did have him out in the field during muzzleloader season. He just really didn't give me a good shot. It was a long shot, and I didn't want to potentially wound him, so I didn't take it. And yeah, this year he really blew up into a really nice buck, an 11 point. I like that kicker out by his brow tine. I would definitely take him if I saw him. This buck is Misfire, and he's named Misfire because I had a muzzleloader misfire on him last year. I got footage of it if you watch my videos. He's a nice 8 point. He really expanded a little bit this year. I'm almost kind of glad I missed him last year because he is the most consistent deer that I have on trail camera at any of my the places where I hunt. He's regularly on my trail cameras when I check them. I have a feeling I'm going to run into him at some point during this deer season. Had a couple of encounters with him through the years. I actually had an encounter with him as a 1.5 or 2.5 year old and blew it, and then I obviously blew the situation last year too. But he's been a lucky deer that he's survived this long because he shows up quite a bit in front of me. So I would definitely take this deer opening day if I saw him. He's just got a nice 8 point rack that's just beautifully perfect. Batman's a buck my son named for me. He loves his superheroes, and he's a deer I've only got 2 years of history with. Saw him last year. Doesn't have really good developed brow tine, so it's easy to tell it's him. He's got little kind of nub stickers on the ends of his main beams. He stays in the south end of the property. I don't get too many trail camera pictures of him. He's always up on the top of that ridge, so we'll see if I even see him this year. Tripod is a deer that I just started getting on camera last year during the holiday hunt. He had a really weird looking rack then. I said I might shoot him Just genetically doesn't look like it's that great, but he got really a lot higher this year, and I'm gonna have to make a decision when I see him on whether I'm gonna shoot him or not. I might let him grow. It's just a really cool kind of looking rack that he's got. I figure him to be probably only a 2.5, maybe a 3.5-year-old, so he might get the pass this year. This last buck I'm going to show you his kicks. He's got kickers off his main beams that I think are pretty cool. They kind of go out sideways. I don't think I'm going to shoot this buck this year. I think I'm going to let it walk. I saw it once in the woods already. It is a nice deer, but I figure it to be 2.5. Out there in Medina, they grow some studs because it's that flatland, corn-fed deer situation, and these deer get big out there. And I just think this is a young deer that has a lot of potential for the future. So I'll bet I'm gonna pass him unless I'm really desperate for a deer late in bow season. He's gonna get the pass.